Oh yeah, Nightreign comes out on Friday for the tech test. Apparently people have been already getting access to it early.
Recently, I played 6 hours of Elden Ring Nightreign, and we were locked in for that entire time. This game is addictive, it's intense, it's way faster paced than I expected, and I think it's gonna be a hit. So let's talk about it. Our characters have just left the left, and your ultimate is on the right. Both of these circles fill up over time, and when they're full, that's when you can use the ability or the ultimate. Now, the Recluse has an ability that
Hate that.
is actually
I do
much
not
more
like that.
complicated
Oh my
than
god.
the other characters' abilities.
Okay.
And I think they designed it this way because the Recluse is designed to be a backline character. In Nightreign, the spells you cast are tied to the weapons you pick up, so you usually only have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 spells on hand, so From Software has given mages another system to sort of micromanage while they're standing in the backline casting spells. Let me explain really quickly how it works. Blast.
I want to see not
This blast
Here we
can
go.
be charged, it can be comboed with your running animation and the hookshot animation.
Don't know those games,
and
buddy.
it stuns enemies.
Like
In this
0-1.
case, it actually staggered the enemy, allowing for a critical hit, but on every single enemy and boss I used it against, it also stunned them for a short amount of time, which was this unique animation that allowed my teammates to sort of get a moment to breathe or do extra damage. Wilder's passive ability is a one-time use effect that allows him to completely negate any instant of damage that would have killed him. You might have just seen it activate there. Basically, Wilder does this brief moment of inspired acrobatics and gets a second chance instead of being downed.
Thanks for your
Next,
subscribe.
let's talk about the Guardian. So the Guardian's passive ability is this shield stance, I'm pretty sure, which increases your guarding capabilities at the expense of your movement. Their ability is this whirlwind attack, which seems to get rid of environmental effects like the Death Blight here, but moreover, its main function is to interrupt enemies, so that your teammates can get some damage in. In this way, the Guardian is a really strong melee support character.
I don't know. I'm not liking the look of that.
Recently, I got the chance to play Elden Ring Nightreign early at a hands-on preview
Yeah,
event
I'll watch
hosted
the
in
new
Vegas.
Superman movie.
In case you missed it, Nightreign is the next game From Software is releasing, and according to them, it's a quote co-op action survival game. What is it really? It's essentially Elden Ring remixed into an action roguelike for 3 players, where each run sees you fighting enemies and collecting loot in a shrinking Fortnite-esque circle. Next, we get some proper Duchess gameplay and a look at her ability, Restage. This replays the damage an enemy or boss just took over the past 2 seconds, and as you can see, it's especially impactful when it's paired with something like Wilder's ultimate. For only being on a short cooldown, this is easily the strongest ability in the game. It's also a great example of co-op synergy and interactivity that usually isn't present in other FromSoft games. This clip also shows an important change to critical hits. In Elden Ring, bosses and enemies are immune to damage from teammates for the duration of someone landing a critical hit. But in Nightreign, that's no longer a restriction. However, I think bosses might take reduced damage from other hits during this window, so that's not too overpowered. One last thing to note about this clip, the Duchess's passive gives her a unique quick-step Bloodborne dodge that's noticeably faster than the other dodges. She also gets a cool little backflip if you dodge backwards twice. Check out this dagger moveset, by the way. This is much different than Elden Ring and way faster. Definitely a fan of this change, and I can vouch that it feels great to use. Next, we get to see the Duchess's ultimate, which applies invisibility to herself and the rest of the group. This is obviously useful when sneaking up on enemies, but I also found it useful even in the middle of a boss fight, because attacking doesn't seem to break stealth. You can still get hit, but yeah, it has its
Yeah,
uses.
I don't know. I just really
Since there are
don't
4 different
like this
elements, it results in
concept.
14 different potential
I
spells
really
you can
hope it's
cast
more
baked
fun
into
to
just
play
one
than it is
ability.
to
And you kind of have
watch.
to remember them because they have different ranges and uses. Hell, some of them player, something we don't typically see in FromSoft games. In this case, it's due to there being 2 bosses at once, but I also encountered other bosses that are better examples of this. Also, in case you're curious, its moveset seemed to modify from Dark Souls, so it wasn't like FromSoft just ported the boss into Elden Ring without making changes. I don't know exactly what those changes were, but I could tell that it felt different than Dark Souls. Another modified nighttime boss we encountered was Morgott. He was mostly similar to his appearance in Elden Ring, but he had a few new moves, including this insane AoE blood slash that would hit the whole group and nearly one-shot us. He also had new dagger throwing combos and just seemed more aggressive overall. If FromSoft is going to rely on reusing bosses, I appreciate that these changes make it feel new-ish and suited for co-op. It's a shame they didn't seem to make any meaningful changes to the demi-human boss fight. but oh well. Anyway, after completing the fight, you get the message Night Repulsed. The boss also drops a purple soul, and upon interacting with it, you get a choice between 3 different upgrades for your character. This is basically how it works when killing mini-bosses too, but the upgrade from this main boss is more substantial. Sometimes these upgrades operate purely in the background, like extra spell duration, but my group occasionally encountered some more interesting upgrades. One time, one of my teammates got an upgrade that created lightning bolts whenever he dodged. Another one he found cast fireballs whenever he walked. And I do mean walked. Like, slightly tilting the left stick was the only way to trigger it. While
That's
the
a
walking
cool
one wasn't
ability.
super useful, both of these upgrades were... This guy also has a pretty devastating grab attack, so I recommend not getting hit by it. During the fight, one of Wilder's teammates goes down, and here they showcase the ability to revive teammates with ranged weapons like bows. This is surprisingly useful, and it might be worth holding on to your
That's
ranged
true.
weapon just
They
for
are running out
situations
of
like this.
remasters.
Speaking of ranged weapons, you don't have to worry about ammo in this game. It's unlimited. Around the halfway point, the boss explodes into 3 fireballs, and then reforms as 3 separate dogs. This is probably the toughest part of the fight, and I think the best strategy is to try to take on each of them one by one. When I talked to Vadi after the event, he told me he just ran away until they reformed into one body. So that might be an even better strat, even if it's boring. Either way, this is nice.
Alright, we'll see. Looks great. Y'all just hate anything though? I mean, it's... I'm like the last person to hate FromSoft. I think I'm probably like their #1 glazer. I just really think it's a terrible direction to turn just Elden Ring and bosses from previous Dark Souls into a roguelite battle royale inspired basically minigame. I just really don't like it at all, and everything I'm seeing here isn't really selling me on it. It just seems like it seems like a mod I would play and be like, ah, it was fun for like a guy making a mod. It's 40, not 60, so it makes it more forgivable. Yeah, but I'd rather just have another good FromSoft banger. You should love this concept. It's literally just boss fights. Boss fights we've already done, but now you do it co-op with roguelike elements. It actually just feels like, hey, what's hot? Roguelike. Cool. Multiplayer. Cool. Can we make it like Elden Ring themed? I mean, I guess. Ship it. They're new bosses. I did see 2 new bosses there. But that's not the bulk of it. Hating for no reason. Brother, what? How is that no... I just gave the reason. What the fuck? I heard nothing bad about that. I guess. I mean... It's not why I play FromSoft games. But I mean, if you just want... I don't know, the by the numbers safe roguelike trend for FromSoft, that's cool too, I guess. Same boss's new movesets is good. Well, it's not new movesets, he just said that they added like a move to Morgott and then did nothing for the demi-human. Daggers and slashes, you're just not listening. What? If this was it, let's take, this was topical. If this was Overwatch 2 and they said, hey look, we added these new melee moves to Reinhardt, would you be like, holy fuck, they changed it? You probably wouldn't. So, like, why do that for here? Changing the dagger moveset's, like, cool, it's like a little fun thing, but also, I'm not, like, going crazy for it. You're overreacting a bit. I'm not even overreacting, I'm saying I hope it's good, I'm not sold on it. Like, there's nothing I've seen that makes me excited. It all just makes me skeptical.
Around the halfway point, the boss explodes into 3 fireballs, and then reforms as 3
It just looks like a fun mod I would enjoy for an hour or 2 before going back and just replaying all the Souls games again for the 3rd fucking time.
Just ran away until they reformed into one body.
Isn't the new direction for the games? It's likely a little snack to keep busy until their next big game, just because it's different from what FromSoft usually doesn't make it inherently bad. Who said it made it inherently bad? I just said I'm not sold on it. Like, I don't think it looks amazing. Obviously, this isn't going to be their direction, but this literally just feels like something like, hey, roguelikes are really hot. Multiplayer is really hot. Okay, we can do something real quick. Like, I don't know what makes people so mad. I'm not even just, like, blindly hating on it. I'm, like, the biggest FromSoft fan. Literally, open your eyes. That is all FromSoft. That is all FromSoft. And that is all FromSoft behind me. Like, you won't find a bigger FromSoft fan. But I'm also just not a mindless drone who's just going to be like, oh, FromSoft, everything perfect. Like, I can absolutely still have, like, some doubts on a product they make. I think it's a really stupid way of living life, of just being like, I like these things from this company, so I'm gonna like everything they ever do and not say anything bad about it. And anyone that does is bad. They must just hate it for some reason. That's just being fickle. I love how that's being fickle. You have to love everything or else you're just being fickle. You liked one thing, what? So now you don't like everything? Fickle. Ridiculous. Blind devotion to companies is why the industry gets pumped full of half-baked bullshit. No, it's not even blind devotion, it's just blind consumption. Devotion is more than just companies. It's literally everything and everyone. If you like something or someone, you have to like worship it and shun people that have even like the mildest nuance or criticism of it. It's a spin-off for fun I don't understand. What's not to understand? All I said is there's not a huge concept to grasp. I just don't like the idea of taking Elden Ring, recycling the bosses, adding a couple new moves, and I think it's like 8 new bosses or something so far, and then just rolling out roguelike and multiplayer. Like, I'd rather just wait for the next big game. I'll still try it, but there's not a huge concept to grasp. I just don't love the idea. I'm not sure, Jin. I actually think the Nightreign tech test is in 4 days. I'll try and get in there. If it's not too late, we'll see. It's meant to be filler in between games, and I'm not a fan of filler. Like, this would be a fun mod. I would enjoy this mod for a couple hours, but I don't think that's like a good excuse. At least it's not full price. It's $40, which is nice. But I'd be more excited about just the next thing they work on, like real thing. So if they called it a mod, that'd be fine. If you're charging $40 for a mod, that would not be fine. No, absolutely not. But if this was made by like 5 FromSoft fans and put on Nexus mod, bro, this would be incredible. Because that's fundamentally what it looks like. I think Miyazaki was going to let them do a whole new game that's strictly multiplayer based. He wants solo adventure games. I know. And he didn't work on this one. He just greenlit it and helped with the conceptualization or whatever. I know. It just, again, it does just feel like a mod, which is fine. But I'm not going to be like pumped about it. I'm not going to pretend to be.